You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel, the special enlightened edition of Zero Dark 30 here on Wednesday. And it is, folks, dark times. Dark times. What am I talking about? Treason. Open treason. Not open season, but open treason. Blatant, in our faces treason. Now, again, throughout history of my lifetime, people have questioned, how did the Germans allow themselves to be taken over by the Nazis? How did this happen? Why didn't the people do anything? Well, now I'm asking the same question of us. Now, what's the deal? What is it about human nature that keeps us from acting when we should? Well, it's called self-preservation. You and I see the treason, or at least you should. Well, let's go through the ways. Let's count the ways first. Very simple, right out the bat. Complete open door destruction of American borders against enemies foreign by enemies domestic. That is an act of treason to completely negate the president to protect this country by engaging in policy that is completely destructive and against the will and wishes of the common good. That is to say, the country is being destroyed financially, socially, medically, in every way by the entrance of these miscreants who are by no way qualified to be here. Treason. Now let's go one that's a little near and dear to my heart. Right? Treason against the people and our servicemen and women. The abandonment of military outposts done so abusively incorrect. Afghanistan, leaving behind $85 billion in equipment. If you turn that into $85 billion in treasure, think of it as treasure. How much treasure could you buy with $85 billion? It is treasure, and the loss of, intentionally caused by poor planning or intentional neglect of duty, derelict of duty, incompetence, treason. The flying of other flags upon the White House, in my opinion, is never to be done lightly or for transient purposes. And the word transient I selected intentionally because we now have the trans, gay, weirdo flags pasted all over the White House on Easter and other days. It's just disgusting. It's immoral. It is a denial of the sanctity and primacy of the American flag and this nation by finding the flag of perverts and miscreants and anti-American scum. Treason. You want treason? How about every unconstitutional law put forward through Congress, knowing it's unconstitutional, knowing it's a violation of our rights? Congress, the president, and then you've got the bureaucracy joining in on the treason by creating regulatory rules and guidelines for enforcing unconstitutional acts of treason. The forcing of the people to accept an insurance, being forced to participate in a government private corporation arrangement, healthcare, Obamacare, treason. The Supreme Court for not overturning it, treason. In fact, the Supreme Court for not upholding the Constitution, in my opinion, is treason. Now, I know that's it's a committee-style body that requires a majority to make things happen. So the minority can always claim, wasn't me, and I get it. Right? The system is supposed to operate without imploding every time someone has a disagreement or an accusation. I get it. But that doesn't take away from the fact that there's an act there that causes a treasonous devaluation of the structure support of our republic. Right? You can't sit on a body and say, well, 4 out of 7 voted for nuclear war, destruction, and death of everyone on the planet. But since it was a committee and I was outvoted, it was fine. No, not acceptable. Not acceptable. Treason is all around us, folks. Look at the actions of the Attorney General's office, the Department of Justice, and the FBI, acting in concert to violate the rights of a former president, a president whose main slogan is "Make America Great Again," a president whose actions are to put America first. And that is being treated as if national interests and the interests of the people, in whose name everything is supposed to be done and they're supposed to be the beneficiaries of, to say that that is wrong and to violate that sanctity, that the idea of the nation comes first. Treason. Treason. To put us so far in debt, we're now at $35 trillion on this, this day, I think, is an act of treason. They know there's a problem. They know we can't afford to keep going down this direction of incredible overspending. It's treason. And then for them to say, oh, well, we did our best. No, you don't screw everyone over and say, well, I did my best. I'm like, okay, it's fucking obvious you did your best. It's obvious. It's evident by the destruction that you've caused. As far as I'm concerned, treason. They're doing it intentionally. They know what they're doing. They're taking our money, or rather writing checks. No, that's an old term. They're getting an advance, a cash withdrawal advance, and giving us the bill intentionally, sending billions of dollars to support money laundering operations and ridiculous, how do I term this? Fascist money laundering operations in Ukraine, and spending our treasure to do it, to create and secure and hold the most corrupt country on the planet in their grasp. Treason. To allow the United Nations, the World Health Organization, to tell us what we must do when they decide that there's a pandemic or something, right? The World Health Organization is going to tell us what to do? No. No, and no. Not going to work. Treason. Handing authority over to terrorists is treason. Supporting terrorism is treason. Inviting terrorism into our country is treason. Sending our money outside the country is treason. You want another one? The wokeification. The wussification, the destruction of our military is an act of treason. It is a constitutional, not just prerogative, but requirement that the national government, one of the few things the national, or rather federal government, is supposed to do is provide for the protection of the states and the people through the use of a military organizational structure, the Department of Defense. And they're destroying it by putting lipstick on it, literally, and cutting its balls off, literally and figuratively. It's placing us in a precarious position where our enemies will see it easy to strike and hurt us, whether in an act of terrorism or war. It is treason. By any other name and definition, it's still treason. And what they're doing to our children. The government claiming it knows best, and then violating the rights of parents, violating the innocence of children by foisting upon them homosexual propaganda, pornography, sexual licentiousness, perversion, and the intentional dumbing down or degradation of the educational system to where 2 and 2 doesn't equal 4. It equals whatever makes you feel good. I consider that treason. You know what else I consider treason? I consider pitting Americans against each other. Treason. To divide the nation by race is treasonous. Trying to cause internal strife and war. We have enough of that with these illegals and with these religious belief systems which do not accept others and seek to destroy them and even threaten us openly. It's treason. Now, back to Germany. What are we going to do about it? Same story. You cannot act against it until the people's will is strong enough to support the removal of the conspirators. And conspirators they are. So when will we have that? When the people have had enough and they can't be bought off with trinkets or drugs or entertainment. That's when the will to get rid of this current administration and restore our Constitution fully can occur. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind, and I am in no way telling people to commit acts of violence or conspire to overthrow the government or anything of the sort. This is an academic discussion for the purposes of entertainment, satire, education. So Washington, D.C. can fuck off. We're allowed to talk and think. And I don't care what you think. I'll see you guys later.